RV Park uses a Microsoft Access database to store and display all of the information you need and use. Since you have a database, there are a few things you need to do to keep the database healthy and safe. The first procedure you need to do is to compress the database. What happens is, over time, your database has information added and removed, which doesn't always get stored in the proper order. I usually explain this by talking about a bookshelf with numerous books on the shelf, each being a different width. If you delete one, it leaves a space on the shelf. Then you store a larger piece of information. The database puts part of the new information where the previous, smaller, book was stored, another part where a different book was stored, and still more in another place. Before long, the database has to go all over the place to find the information you need, slowing down the application. Therefore, we have created a button to defragment the database called Compress Database. It is recommended you use this button about once every couple of days. It will just keep the database clean and contiguous, maintaining the information in the proper order. Compressing the database does not require a password. Try to perform this operation when no one else is using the database. The next database function is designed to keep sanity in our user community. This is the backup database feature. How frequently this is done is up to you. It is recommended that it be done on a daily basis, when you are shutting down in the evening. RV Park will make a full backup of your database for each day of the week. What that means is that there will never be any more than 7 daily backups, because it will overwrite last week's copies as you perform them. You can also rename one of them periodically to save that one for longer periods of time. It is also recommended that you set your backup path to somewhere other than your computer's hard drive. If you back up to your computer's hard drive and it somehow gets corrupt, your backups may be lost. We recommend you buy an inexpensive USB hard drive to perform your backups too. This function also does not require a password to perform. It is also recommended this be done while no one else is on the database. This can also be done automatically when RV Park is closed at the end of the day with a setting in the Campground Information Setup panel. It is highly recommended that you set both the compress and backup database settings to automatic. Replacing the database, should something happen, does require a password. This capability will replace the park.mdb with whatever you select, so be sure you are selecting a true Park database. If you select the wrong database that is not a Park.mdb formatted database, the software will not proceed. This should only be done when no one else is using the database. Archive last year's records is a tool to either archive or retrieve billing records from your main database. There is a special database in your directory called archivepark.mdb where RV Park can store old billing records before a selected date or bring back those old billing records after a specified date. Over time, this will help keep your RV Park database smaller and easier to manage. It is recommended you create all reports you need before archiving your billing information. I would suggest this is done after 1 year has passed. That is, if it is January of 2014, you should archive your billing records for 2012. Edit Billing Database is a tool to edit a billing record or completely delete a billing record. This area requires the database password to access it. Generally, all billing records are listed in the list box at the top of the panel. The list can be sorted by the invoice date or the guest name. You can also order the list either ascending or descending. Simply select any of the records from the list and the Edit Billing entry area will be loaded with that record's information. Just below that section is the Other Charges Details area. Here, if there were other charges associated with the billing record, they will be listed in this area. Looking at the Edit Billing entry area, any of the information can be changed. Just be aware that if you change the dollars and the final amount you create is not the same as what you received from the guest, you may have an overage or shortage in your actual money receipts. It is sometimes necessary to delete a billing record, like when you accidentally press the Bill Paid button and the wrong amounts were entered. Export Excel data is a tool we created so you can develop your own reports or get your information you need in a spreadsheet format quickly and fairly easily. It really isn't too difficult, but if you have never developed a database query, can be a little foreign. The first step is to determine which table you want to extract information from. The tool can only work with one table at a time. We will use the billing table. It contains virtually all of the billing information you have been saving. When you select billing from the table drop-down, the example output format area will show you the first 3 records. In the example output format area, you can actually modify how the columns will be organized, that is, their order, and you can completely remove columns if that you don't want in your output. The way this works is if you don't want the meter start column, just right-click the column and press the Yes option and it will be removed. Then, if you need to move the other charge column to be before the space rent column, just press and hold the Control key and left mouse button and drag over on top of the space rent column and release the left mouse button. You will get a confirmation of what you are doing. If it's correct, just press the Yes option and the column will be moved. After you have the example output the way you want, you can use the filter areas to select only those records you want. Let's say you want all records between January 1, 2013 and November 30, 2013. You can either use the date of the invoice or the actual date it was paid. Note the date paid is what we will use because it is a more accurate reflection of when funds are collected. So, we will select the date paid option and the greater than or equal to and select the January 1st date of 2013. Then select the an option and date paid option again and then the less than or equal to November 15, 2013. That is all we need, but one could also add other parameters for filtering the information. Then the output can ordered by a field, like name in either ascending or descending. You can then output to either an Excel or CSV file. Note the query that will be run is provided in the red text at the bottom of the panel. If this is a report you may want to use over and over, you can save the report format that can be reused. When you press the Export Data button, the report will be run. If you use an existing report, you always can change values before actually running the report again. This concludes the database maintenance video.